So to begin the program, this is very important. This web series on business opportunities and National High Speed Corporation Limited project of. So now to begin the program, I request our President, Mr. Sanjay Pile, to give the formal welcome address for today's program.
Good afternoon, everybody. Shri Achal Khare ji, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shri Achal Khare ji, Managing Director, National High Speed Rail Corporation. Shri S.K. Chaudhary ji, Chairman and Managing Director, IRCON, and Chairman of our PhD Railway Committee. Shri Vidyarathan Sharma ji, Managing Director, Jindal Steel and Power Limited. Shri Ranjan Dhingra ji, Co-Chair PhD Railways Committee, Shri Bharat Joshi ji, Co-Chair PhD Railway Committee, and Shri Dhruv Agarwal, Co-Chair of the PhD Railway Committee. Ranjit Mehta ji, our Principal Director, and Bhavna ji, the Director in charge of the Railway Committee. Ambassadors, diplomats, experts and captains of industry, distinguished PhD members and representatives from the railways and allied industries, friends from the media, a very warm welcome to you all. I think there is some disturbance. Could the admin please mute those who are not speaking? Yes, please. Okay. So it is indeed my proud privilege to welcome our distinguished dignitaries and guests gathered online today to be a part of our PhD Railway Webinar Series 2, the business opportunities in National High Speed Rail Corporation Limited's projects in India. We are extremely privileged to extend a warm welcome to our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Achal Khare, the Managing Director of National High Speed Rail Corporation, who has been handling complex challenges of the high speed rail project in India and whose presence and views will add further impetus to our endeavors. We also extend a warm welcome to Sri Vidyarathan Sharma, Managing Director, Jindal Steel and Power, a veteran of railway industry, and look forward to hear his views on the importance of the steel industry coupled with railways. We also extend a hearty welcome to Mr. S.K. Chaudhary, CMD IRCON, who is taking over the mantle of being the chairman of our Railways Committee this year. Indian Railways, which is almost 170 years old, is among the world's largest networks in the world. The intricate matrix of connectivity it provides across a huge and widely populated country, coupled with an impressive frequency of trains to the remotest areas, makes it a very accessible method of travel for most Indians and tourists. India, owing to its dense population, also makes railways an exemplary mode of transportation. It is a highly lucrative investment market for high-speed railway network, as more than 25 million people travel by rail every day. The Indian railway system is currently highly stressed on its main trunk routes, which carry bulk of passenger traffic and freight traffic. The capacity utilization on certain routes is as high as 150%. The overcrowding of the system has led to a slowing down of average speeds for the passenger and freight trains, and there is also a clear shift of traffic from railways. Excuse me, please. Which is more energy efficient and environment friendly transport compared to road transport. The increasing congestion on the railway trunk routes has also resulted in higher turnaround time for movement of goods, affecting manufacturing in the country. The need of the hour, therefore, for the country is to improve our connectivity across the nation for economic and social development, and this has led to the formation of high-speed rail project between Mumbai and Ahmedabad as the first project, which we hope will be in the series of a long list of projects that as a nation we should be embarking upon. An 8-hour-long journey covering 508 kilometers will significantly be reduced and will be covered in just 3 hours once the high-speed rail transportation becomes a reality between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Improved and faster connectivity will be the biggest outcome of the bullet train project, And with the proposals for 7 more high-speed rail corridors in India in the offing, the future of Indian railways, Indian travel is set to see a paradigm change. India is therefore set to turn its dreams into reality. The bullet train project and 7 more proposals for the high-speed rail corridors are set to bring about a major paradigm shift in our country. Japan, that began its first high-speed rail system operations in the form of a bullet train or Shinkansen in 1964, these systems have changed the dynamics of speed across the world. The high-speed rail project is on its way to soar high in India, and that is going to change the way we travel. The transport revolution 2.0, with the advent of bullet train, will be a game changer in our country. The Shinkansen technology is quite reliable with proven safety record of zero passenger related fatality in the last 54 years, which is very, very hard to imagine. In 54 years, you have a zero fatality record. Japan's Shinkansen has transformed the way its citizens perceive commuter rail network, and India will benefit greatly from this technology that will revolutionize public transportation in our country. During these uncertain times of the COVID pandemic, a strong economic partnership buttressed by the high-speed rail network between India and Japan will prove beneficial for both the economies. There are versatile benefits of the bullet train project. It has the maximum potential to kickstart our economy's aspirational chain, and the usual development of ancillary activities around the construction of the high-speed rail will be substantial. The integral goals of MAHSR project, which are Technology Transfer and Make in India initiative, through the idea of developing this project within the confines of our country, it's an example of making India self-reliant, and benefit this one project will generate for the subsequent other projects and other companies and the Indian companies is substantial. There are many positive benefits of the high-speed project, which will be useful in India's overall aspirational development. Technology enhancement in other domains, real estate, economic and business development along the route, development in both the major hubs of the country, game-changing sense of connectivity, and cutting-edge infrastructure are some of the major tangible benefits. There are many intangible benefits of this project also. Other allied sectors like tourism, medical, and education sectors in the region will also get a boost because of the minimum travel time while visiting tourist places and addressing quality education and medical services. Feasibility studies have been permitted for the upcoming 7 bullet train projects, which will provide more business opportunities for the industries under the PPP, Public-Private Partnership Model. The projects are Delhi Amritsar, Varanasi Howrah, Delhi Varanasi, Delhi Ahmedabad, Mumbai Hyderabad, Mumbai Nagpur, and Chennai Mysore. It is clear from these planned projects that the government means to increase the connectivity, due to which there will be subsequent rise in tourism business while cutting the travel time, increasing accessibility, and providing the business opportunities in abundance. These mega infrastructure projects have the potential to offer many business opportunities for the railway sector, its ancillary services sector, and allied industry stakeholders to join in. We look forward to learning more details from Mr. Achal Khare, the Managing Director of National High Speed Rail Corporation, about the huge business opportunities for the railway industry to collaborate and participate in this humongous proposed high-speed projects. There is a huge amount to do, but I am confident we will succeed as long as we work together. And what the PhD Chamber endeavors to do via this webinar is to provide clarity on the path forward while discussing the opportunities and implementation of the envisaged visionary initiatives. I look forward to an informative session while welcoming all the guests, everybody again. Let me end with a very apt quote by Henry Ford. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for setting the context for this very important webinar today. As you rightly said, that this high-speed rail will spur growth in the country and bring a lot of employment opportunities. It is expected that more than 20,000 construction jobs and 4,000 plus other jobs will be created. You rightly said it, sir. So now with a speed of around 300 km per hour, It is set to bring the paradigm shift in Indian Railways. That's what we expect. Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. Bharat Joshi for a brief note on introduction of Railway Committee for today's program. Mr. Bharat Joshi, co-chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Good afternoon and welcome to honored office bearers of PhD chambers, our esteemed panelists and esteemed members of audience. This is, of course, a very important session, and the topic, as we are all aware, is on business opportunities provided under NHSRCL, or the National High Speed Rail Corporation Limited. And we, of course, are aware that the iconic Shinkansen, or the high speed rail, the bullet train, known by many names, this project, of course, is domiciled under this very important body. And we, of course, personally, we are doing a little bit of work with Japan, both in railways and in other sectors. And for both sides, this Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train, or Shinkansen, is a great matter of pride and is often quoted at all kinds of fora, right up to the very highest levels. This bullet train, of course, is over 500 kilometers. It's 508-kilometer journey, and we can expect speeds of over 300 kilometers per hour. And the travel time, of course, will plummet from the current 8 hours to some 3 hours or even less. And of course, having been on the Shinkansen, this is something very much to be, to look forward to, because not only is it extremely safe and punctual, but of course, extremely comfortable, very smooth, and very productive, even to just use it instead of, in many sectors, instead of even air travel, for instance. So one can only hope that this corporation will also connect other corridors in future. Coming back to the Mumbai-Ahmedabad stretch, so 12 stations are planned all the way from BKC, or Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai, to Thane, Virar, Boisar, Vapi, Bilimora, Surat, Bharuch, Vadodara, Anand, Ahmedabad to Sabarmati. NHRCL is a joint venture between the Government of India, of course, the Government of Gujarat, the Government of Maharashtra, and has been modeled as an SPV with the objective to finance, construct, maintain, and manage this high-speed rail corridor. Of course, it's reasonable to hope and expect that there would be a multitude of social and economic benefits that will aid in transforming railway infrastructure and provide a major boost and impetus to the Indian manufacturing sector, support Make in India, and aid in the enhancement of trade and commerce. So I think in many ways at PhD Chamber, we're actually also trying to find out for ourselves and for everyone listening and our members and respected visitors of what the various opportunities could be. And part of it is, of course, because projects like this are, of course, iconic, and you need a huge spectrum of stakeholders to come and participate. But also, we would like very much to contribute to both the Make in India as well as the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So how can we go about it? I think that would be, one of the questions, if I may pose, and I think for the larger community here. And of course, very much keeping in mind this, this outlook. The need of the hour is to disseminate information and details regarding the opportunities for business community, and we look forward to hearing about these from Mr. Achal Khare, who is the managing director of NHSRCL. So with that, I hand this back to the organizers, and I wish everyone a very productive discussion, and I look forward to the outcomes myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi, for your perspective. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to invite Mr. S.K. Chaudhary, Chairman and Managing Director, Econ International Limited, and also Chairman of our Railway Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for his perspective on today's webinar. Over to you, sir. Very warm welcome.
Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Achal Khare, MD NHRCF. And also, Mr. Ranjit, despite of being COVID, you are attending this. I am thankful to you. A lot of things have been said about the railways, as you all aware, that Indian Railways is suffering from the deficit of infrastructure, and it was neglected quite a lot. But during this current government, the pace has started coming up and the funds have started coming up. And a lot of projects have been rolled out, and the finances are coming up only to the project which has already started and work is going on in order to complete them in time. So it is a good initiative. Of course, the COVID has hit and it has come all of a sudden, and all the activities have slowed down. Even the budget has also gone way by a little bit. But we hope that we will recover it shortly. And today's discussion on National High Speed Rail Corporation is one of the very well thought out discussion, because the need of the hour is to travel very fast, and connectivity is the main thing. As the population is moving toward the cities, it is very difficult cities to accommodate such population, because cities are also deficient in infrastructure. So in such scenario, it is better that we transport people from different faraway locations in a very high speed. Time is the essence, and time is the main thing which will be saved with this travel. And people can even travel from Ahmedabad, do their work, and come back. So such kind of thoughts have been done, due to which the need was felt that a high speed should come up. After, of course, after a lot of delay, it has started, and I will congratulate Mr. Khare that yesterday he has signed one of the biggest agreement with the L&T of 24,000, 25,000 crores, and we hope that we will see a day very soon that we will be able to traveling on this train. Very India will also have a proud. Whenever a new thing comes, always there is a thought in the mind of people that it is quite costly. Yes, sometimes it is costly, but when the economy of scale comes, it becomes cheaper also. Because a lot of once this kind of infrastructure comes, a lot of business comes to the country, where you can start making lot of coaches and other things which are required in construction of these. As you all know that earlier Japanese were the main people who were supposed to do the partnership with them, but now with the change this thing, and with Make in India and Atmanirbhar, in civil contracts, all the contracts are being awarded to Indian companies. It is quite good thought, and we hope that a lot of business opportunity will come for Indian businessmen, and our economy will also grow up. So today's objective, I think, is well laid out, and with these words, I once again welcome all these participants of the webinar and wish a great success, because time is short and we have to listen a lot of things from Mr. Khare. And Mr. Khare is also has served in IRCON for 5 years. He was our project director in Malaysia, and we wish him always success, and is a part, we always say, is a part of IRCON. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chaudhary. We are very thankful to you that you could spare time and gave your perspective on today's webinar. We are indeed very thankful to you, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I invite Mr. Vidya Ratan Sharma, who is the Managing Director of Jindal Steel and Power Limited, for his address. Over to you, Mr. Sharma.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Shri S.K. Chaudhary ji, Shri Achal Khare ji, Shri Ranjit Mehta ji, Shri Bharat Joshi ji, and my other friends, ladies and gentlemen. Is a wonderful webinar. We are discussing about India's growth story. All of us, we want to be part of India's growth in times to come. Indian Railway, IRCON, NHS, National High Speed Rail Corporation, RVNL, they are really bringing the economy on wheels. So we are thankful to them. During COVID time, Indian Railway has helped us like anything. We did record exports of steel during April, May, June. That was about 1.5 million ton, 15 lakh ton. And we could manage our plant with the support of Indian Railway. And that was an unforgettable moment. We are the only company today in the country that we have the rail mill available in the country for the last 22 years, but we are deprived of using our rails by Indian Railway and by its subsidiaries for many years. So thanks to finally the new government, they allowed us to go for the 20% trial orders in the year 2017. And we successfully fulfilled that order. Thanks to IRCON for selecting us for various projects in Bangladesh and in Sri Lanka. We have successfully executed these orders, and the last mile customer is also happy, and we are also satisfied. We have already supplied more than 180,000 tons of rails to Indian Railway in 8 different zones. And now for the last 2 years, these rails are running. They are in operation for goods train, for passenger trains, high-speed trains, and the results are satisfactory. RDSO has already issued us a letter that all of the installations are doing very well. We discussed with the Indian Metro Rail engineers long back in 2012, and they told that if you come out with a head-hardened rail, then you can get a good business. So we placed order for a head hardening facility, and we manufactured head hardened rail in 2016. Unfortunately, we didn't get the order. First order we get for 20,000.
Mr. Sharma, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you can just, maybe not be company specific in this webinar, it will be better, because if you have any specific query that may be asked to Mr. Khare, maybe during the question and answer, if you can give an overall perspective, that will be better.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you so much. So we have now developed grade 1080 for Indian Railway. We have also developed the grade 1175 and R260. We have a capacity
Mr.
of
Sharma, again, let me repeat to you, sir, this is not a company program. You are requested to talk in general about the project.
Sir, I'm coming. Sir, I'm coming because I made a rhythm. Now let me switch over.
So
yes, sir. Let me switch over.
Sir.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry. Let me switch over. So I agree that rail plays a very vital role. The entire railway plays a vital role for the growth of the country. But here, though it may not be, please don't misunderstand me. Whatever the credit line projects coming to India, there the rails are being supplied by the credit line country like Japan. Whereas in India, the rails are available. When we discuss about Atmanirbhar Bharat, so I think we need the support from all of the authorities, that all of us work in the same direction and we make India Atmanirbhar. As far as the rail business is concerned, the country's requirement is about 1.7 million ton of rails, and jointly SAIL and JSPL can definitely meet out the entire requirement and can make India total Atmanirbhar in this particular business. I'm sure already the stage has been set. Yes, the distance versus time will definitely advantage in terms of timing. the journey will become short when we say 16 hours to 8 hours or 8 hours to 4 hours. And there'll be connectivity all over. This will definitely boost the economy in the rural areas and also in point to point from major metros to the smaller towns. Like now the railway track is being laid for Meerut. So then, first of all, this will give an advantage to the people, those who are living in Meerut, but this will also give the advantage to the people, those who are living in Delhi or NCR, and they want to establish their business in Meerut, then definitely this will help. So as a whole, since there are other people also to speak, I would just tell you 2, 3 things. One is we must encourage the domestic suppliers so that India becomes true Atmanirbhar, as Honorable Prime Minister has been talking, always vocal for local. The other is, yes, it is a known fact. I'm not telling anything new, that the moment the high-speed rails they come in the picture, as the dedicated freight corridors have already come, then definitely it will boost the economy, country's economy. Today we have $580 billion of reserves, which is ever highest reserves in this country. I think Indian government is capable enough to go with the projects at their own, and this will definitely boost the economy, and this will bring employment for the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sharma. Now I would like to invite Mr. Achal Khare. Just a few words about Mr. Achal Khare, though he is very well known. Mr. Achal Khare was born in 1961 and graduated in civil engineering from the University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, in the year 1981. He started his professional career in Engineers India Limited and then joined Indian Railways IRSC of 1982 batch. He has a long career and before joining as first managing director of National High Speed Rail Corporation Limited, his assignment was in Ministry of Railways at Advisor Infrastructure, where he was responsible for coordinating major infrastructure projects such as dedicated freight corridor and high speed rail project of Mumbai Ahmedabad. Apart from technical and material skills, he has experience in dealing with matters relating to international cooperation. He has been the pioneer for making the policy framework and related model document for encouraging public-private partnership. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I am very honored to invite Mr. Achal Khare, for the chief guest of today's program, for his address. Over to you, Mr. Khare.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to interact with all the industry players, many others, because that is how you can convey the government policies and the programs and involve people to come forward. Atmanirbhar or Make in India, there are a lot of terms, but then this is how we can really propagate. I have prepared a presentation for more objective discussion. Can you allow me to share the screen?
Yes, please. Paramjit, please give him the rights to play the presentation, please. Paramjit?
Given.
Okay, given. Okay.
I'm not able to open. Quit. Some issue.
Are you able to open in your computer, sir?
No, my computer is showing sharing as defunct. So, screen recording. That's where the problem with technology is.
Bhavna, please make him a co-host to,
Or
share.
Open system preference. It says open system preference. I have already picked Cisco. Allow them. So if you screen even using other apps. me. Just 1 minute.
Sir, if there is some problem in your system, you can send us the PPT. We'll display it from our side.
That's what I am thinking.
Yeah.
Able to. It is still coming as defunct. I'm not able to. The share thing is coming as defunct. So to whom should I send the email?
You can send it to Bhavna if you have her email.
Okay.
Sir, I've told
Okay.
Sanjay, sir. Yeah.
I'll just forward. I have sent. Have you received? Bhavna, did you receive my email?
No, sir, haven't received it yet. I'll just checking again.
My thing is showing is sent. Your mail is bhavna.singh@phdcci.in.
Yes, sir. BHAVNA.
Yeah, BHBNA. Yeah. Mine is showing as sent. I don't know. Because it's, yeah.
Mm.
Why it is not coming?
Sir, I'll just send you a Gmail address. You can send it on that. That will be
Okay.
faster, I think.
It looks like the system server sometimes doesn't allow. Send me a check mail on my Gmail account. Hmm. Have you sent me an email?
Sir, I've resent it on your Gmail.
Mr. Khare, have you received it?
So I think he's disconnected. He is just logging in again.
Achha.
Sorry.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are just having some delay. There is a technical glitch, I think, with the computer system of the managing director. So we are just sorting it out within 1 or 2 minutes. Please bear with us.
I think during this time, I would like to take this opportunity while we wait.
Yes, Mr. Agrawal, please.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
encourage all attendees, to work towards developing of products within the country. I have met the MD personally, along with our past chairman of the railway committee, and having spent time with our current chairman of the railway committee, Mr. Chaudhary. The Indian Railway is really encouraging Indian manufacturing at this point of time. And I would advise and encourage all attendees to spend time and try and find collaborations from firms in Japan and Europe to develop further products and to themselves research and work with RDSO for enlistment of their products. Again, I would like to reiterate that the current MD of the high-speed trains is very focused in his pursuit for Indian product development.
Sorry, it got disconnected. Bhavna, I think you have received the email.
Bhavna?
Yes, sir. I'm just starting the sharing. Just give me a second, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Dhruv Agrawal, you were saying something? Some more points?
No, I just wanted to emphasize on that point, and I would now
Okay.
give to you, Mr. Mehta.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Khare, by the time it gets, I think it is now, I think
I think
presentation is coming. Yeah.
Are you able to see? I'm seeing a black screen.
Yes, the black.
It's just opening, sir.
Okay.
Just opening.
ओहो आपको भेजूं
Sometimes
Yes, now it has opened, Mr.
it has opened. Can you make it full screen? Or it's okay?
No, she'll make it full screen. No problem.
You may put it on the slideshow. Okay.
Yes, sir, we can start. Good to
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Let's go to next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, I think this, no. First slide. Yes. So most of the details have already been spoken by earlier speakers, but just to tell you, this is mostly elevated. As you see, 460 kilometer is on viaduct and around 25.9 kilometer is tunneling, which includes undersea tunnel of 7 kilometer under the Thane Creek. The total travel time here, I wanted to make it clear that there are two types of services. Limited stop, which starting from Sabarmati, the trains will stop at Ahmedabad, Surat, Vadodara, Surat and Bombay. That will take 2 hours 7 minutes, and all stop will take 2 hours 58 minutes. Design speed is 350 km per hour. Operating speed will be 320 km per hour. Next slide, please. Now, to begin with, we will start with 10 coach train. We are procuring total 24 rakes. Each train will have a capacity of around 750. It may undergo a slight reduction for the luggage. Initially, we expect around 18,000 each way, and peak hour frequency will be 3 trains per hour. Off-peak hour will be 2 trains per hour, so which means every 20 minutes you can expect a train, starting from 6 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock in the night. Next, please. Now, this is something on technical features. Some of you may be interested. We have 2 depots, one at Thane, another at Sabarmati. Sabarmati is going to have a big workshop also. So a lot of machinery requirement at Sabarmati. We'll have 12 traction substation, 2 depot substation, and 16 depot distribution substation. OHE is for the first time in India will be using heavy compound catenary. 2x25 is being used in DFC also, but heavy compound catenary is being used first time. Total energy requirement will be around 1,100 million units every year. Signaling system is digital ATC, automatic train control. Train acceleration is 0 to 320 km per hour in 310 seconds. It will travel a distance of 18 km during this. Service braking is 167 seconds. So 8.5 km is the distance for braking. Power failure detection, this is emergency braking, can be done in 78 seconds. Still, it will travel a distance of 3.87 kilometers. 3 types of classes: standard type, business, and first class or grand class, as they call in Japan. Standard class fare will be around 1.5 times of AC first, which will be around 3,000 at the current rate. And we are coming up with a state-of-art high-speed training institute at Vadodara. Next, please. Now, this is, I just wanted to share with you, first time in India with the Japanese collaboration, we are having a very effective disaster management system. These are all pre-warning systems: earthquake, rail temperature, wind pressure, and rain. I will not talk much about it because this is a subject in itself. But earthquake is, again, as we all know, that Japan experiences a lot of earthquakes. So this is a pre-warning system that as soon as a pre-warning is generated through primary wave, they will be able to stop the trains before the secondary waves, which cause damage to the structure, they hit the structure. So basic idea is stop the train operation. Same way, rail temperature, idea is if the fracture takes place, rail fracture takes place, stop the train operation. Wind pressure, again the same thing. If wind is blowing at a speed more than 108 km per hour, then the operations will be stopped till the wind speed reduces. Rain is not a much big issue here because it's mostly elevated, except on the approaches of tunnel. So there we will be putting rain gauges to monitor the rain thing. Criteria we are yet to set because it's not a very high flooded area, and we being on elevated route, it's not a big issue. But all the 4 pre-warning systems are being set up on Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed route. Next, please. Contract packaging may be of interest to some of you. There are 25 packages. 21 pertain to main project, 4 to training institute. Out of 4 in training institute, 3 are complete. Only 1 training institute main building is yet to come up. And remaining 21, as Mr. Chaudhary congratulated me, we have already awarded 2 big contract packages, one for 237 kilometer, another for 88 kilometer, worth 32,000 crore rupees in the state of Gujarat. We have been making a lot of efforts to get maximum works allocated to Indian companies. As you know, whenever there is a project funded by JICA, normally there is a condition that the lead partner will be Japanese. Here, we didn't have that condition. We tried to put it in parts that whosoever is capable of doing a type of work, he should do it, giving preference to India, unless we don't have that technology and experience to do that. So now with that, earlier a lot of civil engineering works were also with Japanese, but now all civil packages are with Indians, and only the system packages, which is signaling, telecom, rolling stock, electrical, and the depot and workshop is with Japanese. So out of 25, 20 are with Indians, and including track. In fact, track is a special technology, but they have been considerate enough to accede to our request and also give track packages to Indian companies. So with that, Indian component has increased from 47% to 72%. Next, please. Some of the economic benefits, in fact, in association with NITI Aayog, we did a detailed study. So actually, it is almost 58,000 jobs, which will be direct employment during the construction phase. 30,000 will be the indirect employment through the supply chain link. And sorry. We have already started training of unskilled labor in various disciplines like bar bending, electrical works, concreting, scaffolding, because this is one area where I know this is one of the very big challenges. We are going to face a lot of shortage of skilled labor for a project of this magnitude. Over a period of last 3-4 years, we have been trying to give maximum things to Make in India. As you may see, track 12 items have been given to Indian side out of 20. Same way civil, mostly it is Indian. Electrical also, lot of items we have been able to bring to Indian side. If you ask me what is there for Japanese, signaling and telecom is one area where we don't have that capability which is required for high speed. Rolling stock is another area where we don't have that capability of going to the high speed thing, though we are making metro coaches, but high speed demands quite different. So I'm not able to cover everything in this presentation in detail, but those who are interested, we can discuss separately in detail. Construction material, our forecast is around 75 lakh metric ton of cement will be used on the project, 21 lakh ton of reinforcement steel, and around 1.4 lakh metric ton of structural steel. Mr. Sharma is here. So all steel manufacturers, Jindal, Tata and SAIL, it's quite a good demand of 1.4 lakh metric ton for structural steel. Another big demand for construction machines. So I thought of giving that around 300 excavators would be required. Around 280 piling rigs will be required. This is a new item, full span launchers. I'll talk about it later. About 20 full span launching machines will be needed. Lot of electrical and signaling machine will be required, and we will be needing 3 tunnel boring machines to do that undersea tunnel work. Next, please. This has already been spoken to, but for the sake of clarity, I will again repeat. We have been entrusted by Ministry of Railways this job of preparation of 7 detailed project reports. They are all listed here. We have already submitted the report for Delhi Varanasi, and others are in making. Even this work has resulted into use of lot of new technology. I can share with you, when we were doing Mumbai Ahmedabad, using lidar was highly questioned, that why are we using lidar? It may not be possible to do with lidar, but we went ahead and used lidar technique to do our detailed survey for Mumbai Ahmedabad. And I am very glad to share with you that now what these 7 corridors, there is a good competition. There are already about 5 companies in India working with lidar technique. So that's the benefit of having such projects. When we did Mumbai Ahmedabad, we could hardly find one agency to do the work, and now within 3 years we have 5 agencies to do this kind of work, and there is a good competition. Next, please. Coming to the main topic of today, Make in India, I have already covered. We've given the link, the details of the items which are open to Make in India, you can find on this link. I just wanted to share with you that we feel that unless academy, user, and the industry, they come together, nothing can be done. You can't do the things which is implementable. So with that in view, we created a high-speed rail innovation center trust. All those areas where we need to go for innovation using Indian material, make in India thing, it is with that purpose that we involve academicians to do the research work for us, also involve the industry and first NHSRCL as a user to suggest such projects. We have a number of IITs. All major IITs are our partners. They are in the advisory council. IIT Delhi, Bombay, Madras, Kharagpur, Roorkee, Gandhinagar. They are all on the advisory council, and we have Rail Technical Research Institute, Japan, as in our advisory council, and University of Tokyo. I'll briefly discuss about some of the projects already identified for R&D. Just to give industry the oversight that what new materials can be considered by the industry. Next slide, please. Now, these are few items which immediately are of necessity, and industry can come forward to develop these items. I'll go one by one on these. Liner plate for Shinzo, damper stopper for seismic restrainer. Elastomeric bearing, though we may see it's not a new thing, but there are issues involved. I'll come with that. Geosynthetics for RE valves, cement asphalt motor. So I'm not going here because for each item I have some detail in the presentation. So for all these things, if the industry and the academicians come forward, that is something which will really help us to bring the cost down and optimize the cost of high-speed projects, future high-speed projects in India. Next, please. So coming with the first item, Shinzo Pile. This is, as you see, the name is a Japanese name, Shinzo Pile. These piles are not used in India so far, but Japan, it is very common. If you look at the right last photograph, this is the real photograph of the project. This is a track between Ahmedabad and Sabarmati, and the narrow space which you are seeing between the boundary wall and this track, we have to build a column here. So I can't bring my piling rig. I cannot do open excavation here. Now, such locations, Shinzo Pile is the answer. So what do they do is, these are the steel liner. If you see, the steel liner is a molded thing. If you see on the left side bottom, there is a corrugated sheet. So it is 3 to 6 mm thick. It is, you give the corrugations in this and then also bend it to the required radius, and then using a small excavator, keep on excavating and keep on putting these liners. Until the time you reach the required level, you keep on putting the liners and keep on excavating with that small excavator. And after that, you simply do the concreting. So then you don't need any very big piling rig or such equipment which requires space. Now one may say, and a civil engineer will say, why don't you go for well foundation? So technically it is a dry well, but in well foundation, again, you need lot of cartilage and lot of space to sink it. That space is not available. Therefore, rather than sinking, we are doing excavation and putting this liner. So making this liner is a big challenge. As of now in India, I spoke to few of the industry people, but this liner has not been able to, we have not been able to get this liner fabricated in India. This is a big challenge, and we require quite a lot of such liners. We have more than 200 such Shinzo Pile to be used in Vadodara and Ahmedabad. So this is one of the immediate item of interest to fabrication industry. Next. Next, please. This is another item. No. Please go back. Go back, please. Yeah. Now, damper stopper is another item. Currently, this is being imported from Japan. This is one item which in civil engineering which is being imported from Japan. The use is once you put such damper stopper on the pier in continuous girder, then the force is distributed, earthquake force is distributed, and your design becomes optimum. Now, this is one challenge. We had two challenges. One was a steel box stopper, and another is this seismic restrainer. Fortunately, one of the company could develop a steel box stopper, and one of the prototype is being kept in Vadodara Training Institute for anybody to see. We have huge requirement of steel box stopper, and seismic restrainer is another item. If we are able to develop, then probably something which we can think of implementing it straight away in Mumbai Ahmedabad project and substituting it from the import thing. Next, please. Now, elastomeric bearing is not a new thing. Everybody knows that there are a lot of elastomeric bearing supplier, and we are manufacturing. But what is new is the last note. If you carefully read, quality of these elastomeric bearings are such. This is with respect to elastomeric bearing which is being produced and used in Japan. The quality of these elastomeric bearing being produced and used in Japan is that there is no replacement of these bearings in last 30 years in Japan. So it's a challenge to all the elastomeric bearing suppliers that if Japan can produce this quality, and therefore if you see, there are a lot of Japanese code and standards which are mentioned here with which we are going to take the elastomeric bearing. To very frankly share with you, when Japanese were insisting to use elastomeric bearing, I was quite reluctant. I said quality is a big issue, and we always talk about jacking point and then how to replace the bearing. Before you put it, we always discuss the method of replacement of the bearing. Then they were very shocked. They said, why do you say so? Why do you need a jacking point to lift your girder and replace the bearing? I said, because bearings are getting replaced every 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, sometimes even less than a year. And they said, you come with us. I went myself, saw their bearings. They said, this is more than 30 years old. We have not replaced it. So now that's the quality. So the point is not number. Point here is to the industry is the quality. And if you see the requirement on Mumbai Ahmedabad project alone, 48,000 elastomeric bearings will be required. That's the kind of scale. And let me share with you, there is hardly one or two suppliers so far who have been able to come closer to this quality in India. Others are not. So it's a challenge for all of us. I'm not criticizing anyone, but it's a challenge for all of us to come to the required standard if we want things to be done in India with Atmanirbhar Bharat. Next, please. Now, geosynthetic reinforcement wall is another research area. In Japan, they have used RE wall for a height up to 11 to 13 meters. But in India, in railway sector, we have not used RE wall. It's very effective, very cost effective. Even structurally, it is better in earthquake resistance. So this is something which we need to develop. For that, we need to develop the geosynthetic material in India. This was one of the research projects which we have taken in the trust. And if you see the bottom line, this research project not only includes the computer modeling, but then it will also include development of prototype, development of testing protocol, and then testing that embankment for the using the Indian material. So this project has already been assigned to IIT Gandhinagar and IIT Tirupati together to work on this. Hopefully in next 3 years, we hope that we should be able to get a design with Indian materials. Next. Now this is something ballastless track which is used for high speed trains for Shinkansen. So as you see, the bottom yellow arrow is the concrete bed. I'm sorry because the control is not with me. I can't use the pointer. And then there is a RC track bed. Above that, you can see a black layer which is called cement asphalt mortar. And then it is a precast slab track, weighs around 5 tons, and over that fittings and the rails. Now, cement asphalt mortar is one of the important element of ballastless track. So the various qualities and chemical composition with respect to Indian temperature condition, we need to develop them. Currently, RTRI has developed something for the uses in MAHSR, but we would surely like to take it as a research project and develop it ourselves, because entire material here is here in India. The admixtures, the anti-foaming agent, everything is being produced in India. It's a question of only academically working out a right combination and coming up with a Indian cement asphalt mortar composition. Now this project again we have already taken up. It's a exercise which was going on for last more than 1.5 years. Now the project is independently assigned to IIT Kharagpur and IIT Madras. So both of them have been assigned this project to develop CA mortar. Next, please. This is an item which is immediately available for Indian industry to try it out and produce. We call it rail turnover prevention device. This during derailment, it prevents rail to turn over. It doesn't overturn. Now this is already open to India. So if some manufacturers who are into fabrication, if they are interested, they should come up with the rail turnover prevention device. The requirement will be again in thousands, because each slab of 5 meters will require 2 such device. So it will be quite a huge requirement. Next. Now, these are certain fittings which are used in track works. So type A, if you see, this is for fixing the rail with the track slab. Type B is for fixing the rail turnover device with the track slab, and type C is this is the fitting which is used later on to lift the track slab, because it's all precast. Now all these 3 items out of this, type A and type B, are electrically insulated material. So these are and these are again in huge quantity. These will be required. So these are the items open for Indian industry to come up and develop. Now, these items and details are available on our website, and those who are interested, I can put them to the concerned person of NHSRCL to have it further discussed technically. I have shown it to various IITs also. They would be very keen to join with the industry in case some industry would like to take their help. Next, please. Now, as I said, track package are all, there are 3 track packages. When we say T1, T2, T3, these are the names of the track packages. Now, these are open to Indian contractors, but this is a highly precise construction work which is to be done for Shinkansen track construction. So I just thought of putting this slide just to make you appreciate that before we take up track construction through Indian contractors, these are the number of people who are required to be trained and certified. Only the certified people will be allowed to work on this construction project. So you can see the number, and for the benefit of Indian companies, we are setting up the detailed, elaborate training facility at Surat. And we have tied up with the Japanese consultant, Japanese company JARTS, whose expert will come here and train the Indian supervisors, workers, everyone. As I say, a whole lot of list who are required to be trained before they are put on the job. So it's not training and certification. Only the certified people will be put for the construction job. Next, please. This is a similar table. So just to make you appreciate that about 15 categories of people will be trained before the construction job is taken up by the Indian companies. Next, please. Now, this is one of the very big challenge in rolling in stock industry. I'm posed with this very common question that whether we are going to make rolling stock of high speed here in India. Metro coaches are being built. So are we making rolling stock of high speed in India? Let me share with you, there are large amount of items which are currently not being manufactured in India. And just to give you a glimpse, the body, high-speed coach body is made of double skin hollow aluminum extrusions. And this is 25-meter long hollow extrusions. Currently, it is not being built in India. And you will appreciate a train moving at such a high speed, noise is a big issue. So unless we use double skin extrusion shell, it will be very difficult to control the noise level, and passenger comfort will be sacrificed. So this is one such item. There are many more such items in rolling stock, including the upholstery. The upholstery which is being used in high-speed system in Japan, we are not manufacturing that kind of upholstery. There is a slide on that also. So a whole lot of things. The industry need to gear up to understand this, and currently in metros, stainless steel shells are being used, not the aluminum shell, but we need, because it is double skin hollow aluminum shell, we need to use aluminum. Otherwise, the axle load, the weight will increase, and the axle load will also increase. So that we cannot afford. Therefore, we need to have aluminum, and it is much more energy efficient because the weight is less. Next, please. Now, this is another area, because in high speed, because of the speed requirement, the current requirement is very, very high. And because the train is moving at a very high speed, so we need to give very high tension to the OHE wire. So here the material, I have just given a comparison. In Indian Railways, it is electrolytic copper. On DFCCIL, it is copper silver alloy. On MAHSR, it is copper tin alloy. Now, you can see the area is also higher and the tension is quite high. So this is another area. Of course, one project will not make a business case. But if we are going to have lot many high speed, this is going to make a business case. So the industry people who are really willing to work with a horizon of 3 to 4 years down the line, assuming that at least 3-4 more corridors will come, they are most welcome to discuss with us future opportunities on development of this copper tin alloy. We have taken up this project also with the IITs for developing an alloy to take care of the required properties. Next. Now, OHE mast, I am happy to share with you, Indian industry has already come up, and at least I think 2 companies have offered to come up with this circular kind cylindrical pole. So OHE mast, in Japan they use cylindrical poles. Otherwise in India we use RS joists. So 2 companies have already come up, and this item is already going to go with Indian companies. So we need around 21,000 such sets. Again, if this works well, this is much more efficient. If it works well, maybe metros and others can also adopt this kind of design. Next, please. Some more projects which we have taken up. Now this is one area, those who are electrical engineers dealing with OHE, we need to do simulation model of traction power supply and design validation of OHE pantograph. Sorry. To work out the spacing of the traction substation, to work out OHE arrangement. As of now, all these power supply simulations are being outsourced. They are not being done in India. They are all being done abroad. So every time you make a change, you introduce a new rolling stock, or you increase the speed, or you increase more number of trains. So every time you need to do a simulation, because the source code, know-how, know-why remains with the person who has, with the agency who has done this simulation. So we have taken it up. We took it as a challenge that India, being the leader in IT, this simulation is nothing but preparing a computer software model. So as you see, a lot of IT showed their interest, and independently we have assigned these projects to IIT Delhi, IIT Roorkee, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, and IISc Bangalore to develop it. And within 1 year, they have promised us that they will give us Indian version of simulation model for such a study. And we will not be required, none of us, neither the metro nor DFC or railways, to go to any foreign consultant to get this kind of simulation done. Next, please. Now, this is one big challenge for our project. This type of machinery is not being used in India so far. It's very common in China. We call it carrier and launcher. As you see on the right top photograph, there is a carrier and the full girder is kept over it. So they use the already launched girder as a carrier path, and then the launcher, which is this on the left hand bottom, the launcher picks up this girder and places it at the vacant span, and then that is how the work moves on. So we have envisaged this kind of construction arrangement. If we are to build 237 kilometers, the contract which we signed yesterday, 237 kilometers in 4 years, there is no other way except to use such techniques. Now, these carrier and launchers are currently being manufactured in China. So this is one of the challenge which we have already posed to the industry, including L&T, who have been awarded this work, and the academicians, that why can't we develop such kind of carrier and launchers rather than importing it from China. And each of these launchers, just to give you an idea, I was told that it costs around 70 to 80 crore rupees. We would be needing around 20 to 30 launchers on this project itself. And if capabilities are developed in India, maybe metros and many other organizations would stipulate this kind of use of such machinery, because it increases the rate of progress quite substantially. To give you an idea, the methodology which we are using right now, we are able to do 1 to 1.5 girder in a week. With this method, we should be able to do 1 1 to 2 girder in a day. So that is the level of change in rate of progress. Next, please. This is again a summary I have already explained. I will just draw your attention to item number 4. You see, I told you that upholstery is one thing which again is not to the required standard. So what we did, we requested our Japanese colleagues to give us the material of their upholstery. We have offered this material to Ahmedabad Textile Industry Research Association to study what kind of composition, what kind of material is being used by them, because they claim this is one material where even if you put petrol and burn it, the fire will not propagate. And that is how they say our fire requirements and fire safety precautions are quite different, because even if a coach catches fire, they will just isolate that coach and run the train to the next station. They don't stop the train in case of fire, because they are 100% sure that the fire will not propagate. So that is a change from what is being practiced in UK and US and what is being practiced in Japan. So this is something which is again a challenge. Once Ahmedabad textile industry is able to come up, we have given them this another task, that then let them come up with the composition of material and ask the Indian industry if they can produce that kind of upholstery. Next, please. This is again to highlight the items of upholstery. See, these are the few items: seat cover, then foam, then Velcro, and then the sewing thread. The fire can propagate, it can catch fire and propagate from these sources. Some of the statistics of Indian Railways, you see, because of fire, there have been casualties and industry and injuries because of fire alone. So in high speed, this assumes a very big importance, that the kind of material which we are using is absolutely fire retardant and doesn't allow fire to propagate. Now, this is one of the challenge. I think somebody said upholstery and something. So I just wanted to flag this issue, that fire retardant characteristic of the material for HSR application is very important, and it is currently a challenge for the Indian industry. Next, please. I think that should be the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khare. Very detailed presentation with huge opportunities available with high speed rail corporation. And we have some questions with us, though most of the questions that you have already answered in your presentation. One question is from Mr. Dhruv Agrawal, co-chairman of our railway committee. He says that now, is it still we can try and develop any product, or is it too late for this current project which is ongoing right now?
It depends. You see, because we were to move ahead with the project, certain decisions we have taken, but still some of the products are open. So if you let me know which project or which product you are interested in, we can definitely come up. Let me put it in two categories. We have already decided the products which are open to India. Now, the products which are open to India, even though they are not currently available in India, but you are free to develop them now. Now, one of the example is rail turnover prevention device. This is open to India, not yet developed, but it is open to India. So any industry which comes up, we will use the Indian component. Even if you take about an year, you have an opportunity to come up with this component. So it's just to give you one example.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, one question we have got, Mr. Satish Garg, director. He writes that what is the scope for signaling in this high-speed rail project?
Signaling as of now, you see, high-speed signaling is quite different than the signaling system which we are using in Indian Railways or in metro system. And let me share with you, the Japanese signaling system is still more complicated and different than the European system. For a common man's perspective, let me share with you the kind of signaling cables which we will be using. I'm just trying to highlight from the common man perspective. They are gas-filled cables. Now, why gas-filled? Because in case there is any failure or any crack, after all, a cable may fail only when there is a crack and there is a fault. So in case there is a small micro crack, the gas will leak and the centralized system which is monitoring the gas-filled cables will get a signal that cable number so-and-so at such location is showing a sign of failure, and before it fails, you replace it. So that is the kind of level of monitoring they have developed in their system. So it is now gas-filled cable. At least I don't know whether we really we have that capacity or we have any facility to manufacture such cables. But yes, I am very sure if we as Indians, our industry decides to make such thing for future projects, definitely these are big opportunities. I feel very sad that point machines, even though there are companies who are from abroad and they have set up their facilities here in India, why can't point machines be made in India? But yes, the requirement of point machines, the precision required is quite high, but we can do it. Probably people have not tried sincerely. For the signal engineers, let me share with you, these are all, we are going to use movable switches. First time in India on high speed, we are using movable crossings. So the requirement of point machine is very, very high. For signaling, as of now, my assessment is around 80% of the things are coming from Japan because they are not being manufactured in India as of now. So there is a big opportunity. Those who are interested in signaling material, my request would be, I have a very outstanding officer who has worked in Delhi Metro also, who has worked in RDSO. Now he is working with us. My request would be, please come along. I'll introduce all of you to him. And then he can share with you what are the opportunities for future projects in India.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we have a question from Anish Juneja. He writes that how, as a power supply manufacturer, RDSO approved, can look for opportunities in this project.
Okay, let me clarify here. Number one, the equipment or anything, any material which is being used in Mumbai, Ahmedabad does not need RDSO approval. That is one thing. We will have our own certification, verification, testing system, but it does not require RDSO approval. Doesn't mean that those who are RDSO approved will not be allowed. You are most welcome. But then the testing protocol, ITP, will be totally different as defined in our tender documents. Coming to the electrical installations, in electrical, a lot of things are already being manufactured in India, like transformers. All transformers which we are going to use will be manufactured here in India. But these are mainly from the companies, Japanese company who have set up their facilities here. So Toshiba has the facility. We need 80 MVA transformer, 60 MVA transformer, Scott connections. So a lot of things are already being manufactured in India, but by the foreign manufacturers. So this is one opportunity. If more corridors come, we need to have high capacity transformers. Those who are already in the business of transformer manufacturing can think of.
Okay. Though you had a very comprehensive presentation, Mr. Khare, there's one question from Mr. S.G. Vartwal. What is the vision till 2030 for NHSRCL in India?
NHSRCL current vision is to make Mumbai Ahmedabad a success. Now, Mumbai Ahmedabad, as you all know, is we are already into the implementation mode with 325 kilometer viaduct contracts being awarded. And another big challenge, which is an indirect challenge, is to really train our people. See, construction, I'm sure with the help of industry, we will be able to do the construction. The bigger challenge will be to follow the operations and the culture and the practice which is being followed in Japan, which has made them this good result of zero fatality in last 56 years. So we need to learn their culture, and for that, I am trying to tie up with my Japanese colleagues. We are in advanced stage of talks. I just wanted to share with you. Those who are interested, I saw some question that what is the opportunity for MBAs and all. Please learn Japanese language, clear your N4. I promise you, we will send you for secondment for 1 to 2 years to Japan to work on their system, learn their culture, then come back here and bring that same culture and run Mumbai Ahmedabad Shinkansen the way Japanese are running in Japan. So that's the vision for us as far as Mumbai Ahmedabad is concerned.
Okay, so there in chat box is a question from Ripe Germany. So they have two questions. One for NHSRCL for railway electrification OHE system. Will it be only requirement of Make in India? If yes, how much percentage? Does the RDSO registration is required? Who will be the executing government organization for high speed projects?
See, as I already clarified, RDSO certification is not required. Number two, when it comes to Make in India, there are certain items, particularly in electrical, which are not manufactured in India as of now. For example, the neutral section. In the neutral section, if you are, I hope the person who has raised this question would understand neutral section. Neutral section in metros as well as in Indian Railways, currently it is on the driver to lower the pantograph and then pass that neutral section. In high speed, the trains are running at such a high speed, you can't put this responsibility to the driver to lower the pantograph. So it is an automatic neutral section. It is not being manufactured in India as of now. This is a big opportunity if we can get this kind of neutral section. We are going to have RRTS also. It is already under construction. So probably such neutral section, if the capability is developed, this can be thought of as Make in India item in few years to come. Otherwise, in electrical, except the contact wire and the cantilevers, which are not being manufactured in India as of now, and the neutral section, all other items are open to India and it doesn't require RDSO approval.
Okay, so he has another question, sir. So he writes that overall size of each individual lines for each individual lines project executional timeline, which will start first? How will it be going on? What will be the speed level?
I think
so. This is.
I think the reference is to the future corridors. You see, as far as Mumbai Ahmedabad is concerned, it is already under implementation. Now, rest of the items, these are all capital intensive project. Let's not forget this, that these are a highly capital intensive project. So funding is one of the issue. Mumbai Ahmedabad, we could get a very generous loan from Japan at 0.1% to be returned in 50 years. So funding is one thing which government has to see. As far as NHSRCL is concerned, we have been interested with the job of preparation of detailed project report. We, as I think I told, Delhi, Banaras, we have submitted and progressively would be submitting next year. By the end of next year, we will be submitting all the 7 reports. And then based on the funding, financing, the interest of the respective state governments, I think then central government would be able to take a call. But any such project which is 700-800 kilometer long, you expect at least 7 to 8 years for implementation, subject to that the land is acquired in a reasonable time.
Okay. So thank you. There is in fact, there is just one information from Richard Berner, Germany. I think Mr. Richard Werner, you can meet the MD personally there in their office. Maybe that if you would like to discuss with him, so that will be great. These are in chat box. So with this, we
just one thing I wanted to add. If
yes.
Kharisar could share a list of products, as he said, which are open for Indian manufacturing, or products which Kharisar feels that Indian companies can develop for the current project, like he said about the textiles which are required sometime later on, 1 year down the line. So we'll share that with all our members.
Okay. Your point is noted. I'll send you the list. I will send the list to PhD Chamber of Commerce. Then you can share it with your members. I'll ask my people to share it with you.
Okay. So there's another question, of course, you may like to choose to reply later. What is the scope of cybersecurity and drone services in this rail service?
Drone service will have a high scope. I think you noticed, I already told that we are using LiDAR, much more advanced technique than drone. So we are already using LiDAR. But drone is useful in monitoring the progress of the project. And all the contractors, I think, would be using drone services for weekly and monthly monitoring of the project.
So thank you very much, Mr. Khare. So before I invite Mr. Dhuru Kumar Agrawal, co-chairman of Railway Committee, for his formal vote of thanks, I would like to invite Mr. Ranjan Dhingra, co-chairman of PhD Railway Committee, to conclude this session for today's webinar. Mr. Dhingra, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mehta, for giving me this opportunity to give my views on the very subject of the day. In fact, it's indeed a privilege and honor for me to do the job, this honors to give the concluding remarks, especially when we have the two luminaries from the railways. First, in the form of our own chairman, Railway Committee S.K. Chaudhary ji, CMD ERCON, and second, the chief guest of the afternoon, Ashwin Khare ji, the director of National High Speed Railway Corporation Limited. Well, if I could start summing up the whole thing, whatever Sanjay Agrawal talked about, he referred to the industry as such, giving a huge opportunity, human areas of working for the people in the industry, especially from the MSME sectors. And thereafter, of course, our co-chairman, Bharat also talked about it in the same fashion. But let me just start with the Guru Mantra, what our chief guest of the afternoon talked about. What is the vision of his company? He said the vision of the company is making Bombay, Ahmedabad a great success, and to have well-trained and certified people to follow the Japanese culture with zero fatality rate. Keeping this in mind, the entire subject has been dwelt in really great number. Friend, look into this. There's a huge opportunity of various items in the products which are being offered to us as an industry. It is, in my opinion, that way I've attended so many webinars, so many presentations, that a company like National High Speed has offered to us, no one else has done so far. Keeping in mind the dream project of our Honorable Prime Minister, Modi ji. This is his dream project which started way back in 2013, giving us, 2016, giving us an idea to have this Bombay Ahmedabad project, which is, we see is coming to a reality. And not only reality in terms of the project, but in terms of giving humongous opportunities to the entire industry in the country, with so many items, products, which are being offered of high quality. But the best part which I like the most here, friends, is offered to each one of us and to the youngsters the MD aspirations and others, that the skill development which the products and the project has to be maintained, supervised by the experts who are qualified and certified by the people around. I would like to sum up with here is, out of 25 packages which the company has got offered to the project as such, 20 such packages are given to the Indian manufacturers, Indian entrepreneurs, companies. That's a huge number. And also, out of the 4 technical systems which have been discussed about, also the number of them have been offered to the Indian people. Yes, it's a huge challenge to be Indians, because we need to work out the Atmanirbhar project in a big way. And for that matter, another mantra which you talked about, the academicians, users, and the industry must come together and have a pooling system. When 3 of them have a synchronous project, as they sync in together, then there is nothing which is called as impossible. And I'm sure about it, with all these 3 parameters coming together, a big success, and also we make our contribution to your project, to your vision, to your vision of making Ahmedabad this thing Ahmedabad Bombay project a grand success. And besides that, we're also looking forward to the 7 new projects with the DPRs almost in completion. And I'm sure about it, the 7 new projects will open many more opportunities for we all. And thank you very much, Achal sir, for giving us this real opportunity to come forward and be part of your system and to be partnering with your company to have this grand success. And I'm sure about it, a time is not far off and the entire industry will come forward, especially the MSME, where PhD is expert in it. We have so many industries under us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dhingra. You really brought out the substance of the whole, webinar. Such important webinar in your concluding remarks. We really thank you for your such eloquence on this day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Dhruv Agrawal, the co-chairman of our Railway Committee, for his formal vote of thanks for today's program. Over to you, Mr. Agrawal. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute. Yeah.
Hi. Hello, everyone. I would like to thank Mr. Achal Khare, Managing Director, National High Speed Rail Corporation Limited, to take out time today for enlightening us on this high cost and high efficiency project, which will change the way Indian railways will function in the future. I would like to thank Mr. Vidyanathan Sharma, Jindal Steel and Power. I would like to thank Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, President PhD CCI. I would like to give my sincere thanks to Mr. S.K. Chaudhary, CMD IRCON International, who is our chairman for PhD Railway Committee. My co-chair, Mr. Bharat Joshi, and Mr. Ranjan Dhingra, and the Principal Director for PhD CCI, Ranjit Mehtaji. Distinguished PhD members, representatives of the various industries, ambassadors and diplomats, thank you, warm greetings to you all, and thank you very much for attending today's webinar. I would also like to give my sincere thanks to Jindal Steel and Power Limited and Larsen Engineers and Consultants Private Limited. Thank you very much for being a part of today's webinar. I think it was amazing how railways is to development of Indian product. I would like to highly encourage all the attendees today to work on this, do some homework, do your research, and in 1 month's time, we will go people who have done some research and have developed some level of competence in understanding these products. We'll go knock on Mr. Achal Khare's doors again and ask him how to move forward from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. I finally
It was really a very educative webinar for us. I think the amount of data that you have shared with us, the amount of very vital information that's going to be crucial for the local industry to consider indigenizing a lot of things for the high-speed rail. I think it's going to be very useful. Extremely grateful, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We finally thank Jindal Steel and Power and Leron Engineers and Consultant Private Limited for sponsoring this webinar today. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chaudhary sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, President, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, my apologies. It's Laron Engineers and Consultants. My apologies.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I think we should definitely, Bhavna ji, reach out to members and 1 month's time definitely go back to serve with the people who develop products.
Thank you so much, Sharma ji. Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for all your support. Thank you, sir.